So hello everybody and welcome to you if you are new to the group. So dealing with a crash. I'm just going to share some thoughts about this topic, and obviously you might have some different thoughts. One of the things I'm going to be asking you to think about, you can start thinking about this now, what are your top tips for dealing with a crash? So think about that. You might want to just type something, and at the end we'll look at them, or we'll look at the comments as we go along. So I have made a video about dealing with boom and bust, because the more effective we are at breaking the pattern of boom and bust, hopefully less likely we are to have to deal with a crash. Now, sometimes a crash might be self-imposed. Other times it might be that there's external events that were out of our control that contributed to the crash. Let's look at what the common pattern is when people do crash. And I'm just going to have a look at some of the comments people have made about crashes. So let's have a look, see if I can open the comment. When I'm in a crash, I feel sad and despairing because I feel so physically ill and I'm so debilitated. When I'm in a crash, which I am at the moment, I fear that this will be the crash that leaves me. Again, I can't open the comment. That's very strange. And then someone else is saying, I spent 4 weeks in bed this summer. That wasn't the plan. Lol. However, I did feel frustrated. Let's see if I can. For some reason, I cannot open your comment to read the whole comment. So sorry about that. Anyway, okay, I'll keep going, and hopefully you can try copying and pasting your comment again, and see if I can open it. So yeah, let's look at what happens when we go into a crash. Commonly people say, understandably, they feel distressed, they feel a lack of control, they feel uncertainty. They might also be berating themselves for overdoing it. Certainly that's something that I would commonly do when I crashed, and I had lots of crashes when I had ME, CFS. We can be dwelling on the past. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have pushed the boat out. I'm paying it for now. And we're also going into the future. We're catastrophizing. Using our imagination in an unhelpful way by telling ourselves this is going to be the one that lasts and puts us in a real hole, etc., etc. Problem is, when we are in that state of stress, it switches off key important functions. So it switches off our clever thinking. So we're more likely to be emotional and reactive. We can distort reality by telling ourselves that stuff that isn't very helpful and isn't actually true. It also switches off our healing function, or suppresses our healing function, which obviously, if we want to recover from this, we don't want to be hampering our body's ability to heal. It also impacts the body's ability to produce and store energy. It diminishes the quality of our sleep and the ability of our sleep to restore us. And it also impacts our digestion, so we're not digesting our food efficiently. And so therefore it's really important to break those patterns, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But I want to talk about sort of 9 strategies for dealing with crashes. The first thing is to relabel the term that we use. So sometimes I talk about relapses, or people mention the word I've had a relapse, and even the word crash are quite emotive terms. Someone did point out that a crash for one person might be very different to what a crash is for another person. So one person might say, oh, I've had a crash. They might rest for the afternoon and be able to go out in the evening, whereas for someone else, a crash might be being in bed for 2 weeks, a month, etc. But I want you to think about these different words and notice the difference. relapse, crash, setback, dip. I don't know about you, but I find those first two words, relapse and crash, quite emotive. You know, the word crash is quite graphic. Relapse implies that it's going to be something that, you know, we're having to deal with for a while, for a long time. Whereas the word setback implies that it's temporary. And the word dip, again, just implies that it's temporary, that we're going to come out of it soon. So consider the language you use. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we need to accept. Firstly, we need to accept that dips are going to happen. It's part and parcel of having ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. The key is how you respond to the dip, the setback. I'll repeat that. How you respond is key. Okay. Now, we also need to accept that we're human, especially if you recognize maybe that you pushed the boat a bit and maybe contributed to the crash. Then we need to just recognize we're human. We make mistakes. And actually, the condition is quite unpredictable. So sometimes you might think, actually, I feel okay. And you weren't expecting to feel as bad afterwards. So we do need to go easy on ourselves. And again, I was brilliant at giving myself a hard time. So rather than being resigned to, you know, this crash or this setback, recognize that it's temporary and recognize that recovery isn't a nice straight upward line. Okay, it's going to have peaks and troughs, ups and downs, and how we deal with that is part of learning to deal with the condition. So step 3, we need to conserve our energy. If you think about that zebra, you know, when that zebra is in a situation maybe where it needs to get to food, get to water, maybe it's in a dry, arid place, it needs to search those things out. It needs to conserve its energy as much as possible. You know, it doesn't want to be wasting energy. And I talked about this in the group coaching. I want you to consider what a sailor does if they are sailing on the high seas and they hit a storm. Any ideas what a sailor does when they encounter a storm? Whilst you're thinking about that, maybe typing your replies, let's just look at a comment. Acceptance doesn't mean happy, just having equanimity. Correct. So it's accepting that right now you are in the dip. It doesn't mean that you have to accept this as a permanent state of being. It's just a temporary state of being. Take the sails down. Exactly right. That's what a sailor does. The sailor does not try and sail through a storm, because if they try that, there's a very good chance that the storm will just tear down the mast. And even when you've got the sail down in high storms, sailing boats can still reach sort of 12 knots just from the pressure of the wind against the mast. That's pretty fast. So yeah, riding the waves, you have to batten down your hatches and just sit it out. Don't fight it. That's exactly right. Okay, so you need to consider that in relation to having a dip or a setback. It's really important that you allow yourself to rest. I'll talk about that in another video, what rest is and isn't. But you need to be able to help your body relax. So in the video about boom and bust, I talk about some of the patterns that contribute to boom and bust. So the achiever pattern, the perfectionist pattern, the helper pattern. And you have to decide what you just right now need to let go of or put on hold and say, okay, I will come back to that stuff when I've got more energy. So step 4 or strategy 4 is to center yourself. Okay, now it's understandable that you might feel emotions, you might feel frustrated, you might feel upset. I want you to consider what you're saying to yourself. So, for instance, if you're feeling upset, what is it you're saying to yourself in order to feel those feelings of upset? So if you're saying to yourself, oh no, this is going to last for ages, or basically saying scary stuff to yourself, then you are going to feel upset. Now, we might need to allow those feelings and release those feelings. So it might be you need to have a good cry, or write it down to get it out of your head. But we also need to change your perspective. Consider that if you're saying to yourself, this is a dip, this is temporary, then that's going to change the way you feel. And recognize you can choose your next thought. So question, does that mean grounding yourself? Yeah, so that's the next thing. We need to stop dwelling on the past, the mistake, maybe learn from it and say, okay, what did I do? What could I learn from that so that I avoid making that same mistake? But having said that, I recognize that I made the same mistakes over and over and over again. It took me a long time before I actually started to consistently break the pattern of making the same mistakes. We also need to stop going into the future and running those scary movies. We need to stop all that noise that's going on in our head. I know that is a challenge, but that's part of the task. It is often lessen symptoms slightly and release stress. Yeah, absolutely. It's a way of releasing emotion. And centering yourself means being present. So allowing your body to relax might be by using guided meditation, relaxation. There's many guided relaxations on YouTube. You can access the free relaxation that's in the group, or doing a meditation where we're actually just noticing our thoughts but not reacting to them, just observing them, letting them go, going back to your breath. So I remember my ex-boss saying that we need to go back to basics. When we're in a crisis, go back to basics. So she'd say, don't make any big decisions. If a thought comes to you about, oh, okay, I could do X, sit on it for a bit. There can be the temptation to make big decisions, but before we make big decisions, we need to make sure that we're in a good, calm, relaxed state. Next, a couple of comments have coming up. Is not being afraid important? Yeah, absolutely, because when we're in fear, then we are activating the fight or flight response, and that has all the effects that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. So not comparing myself to well people helps for me. Excellent. Have a list of what you know works to refer to. Yeah, that's a great point that actually I was going to make later, so thanks for making that point. So next step is to cultivate useful states. So that draws on that comment that's just been made about not being afraid. Okay, so consider what states would be useful for you to be cultivating. Would it be trust? Would it be a sense of patience that your body will heal? Hello to that person who's just joined. Remember, recognize that your body will heal at its own pace, not the time frame you impose on it. Okay. Now, I know that can be challenging and frustrating, that you want to be more healthy more quickly, but we have to learn to be patient with ourselves and with our body. And I know that can be challenging when you're trying your best. And I remember there was times when I felt like 95% of the time I was managing myself, keeping in calm, relaxed states, And just that 5% of the time when I was doing unhelpful stuff was enough to throw me into a dip. But with practice, as I kept just working at it, I started to find that my body did start to become more robust, so that 5% of unhelpful stuff didn't have the same effect. I live in hope of recovery, but don't know when it will be. I want to be well now. That's completely understandable, and it's good that you have hope. And this is where it's important to be gentle with ourselves, to be patient, because I think patience and trust are two qualities that we need to cultivate, that are going to help us in the future. So, yeah, I was going to give you an example. Just, there's stuff that we can do that is going to help the body heal. There's stuff that we can do that's going to hinder the body's healing. So I can remember when I had ME/CFS, there were times when I got flu, and that flu would last for 1 week, 2 weeks or more. And I remember that a time once I'd learned how to get myself into deep states of relaxation and interrupt all the, unhelpful thinking I was doing, I remember starting to feel flu symptoms because I generated some stress, and I used the tools that I'd learned to get myself into a deep state of calm for just half an hour. And half a day later, that was sometime in the morning, by late afternoon those symptoms had completely gone, and that was mind-blowing. Okay, so next step, let's just see another comment. Trust is a new notion. I think you're on the right track. Trust is a really important notion. So next step or strategy 6, simplify things as much as possible. As I mentioned already, just let go or postpone things you have to do unless they're absolutely vital. Things like meals, simplify as much as possible. Might be, there were times when I did resort to healthy meals. Obviously, you want to eat as healthy as you can. If you're vegetarian, don't just rely on eating bread and cheese. Bread can be something that causes reactions in people. Dr. Sarah Myhill is a big advocate of cutting bread out of the diet and many grains. If you're a meat eater, consider that certain meats, chicken and pork, for instance, aren't as high in quality because what those animals are fed doesn't have the same nutrition that cows, goats, sheep have if they're eating grass, which is full of minerals and vitamins. Okay, so, and there is a product called Huel, which rhymes with fuel, spelt Huel, which is a food replacement, and I've used it in the past. It's pretty handy. At the time I had ME/CFS, it wasn't available, but if I had ME now, I'd definitely use it. You basically mix a certain amount with water. You can make smoothies with either vegetables or fruit. Like, I have frozen berries in the freezer, and I can make a smoothie with some blueberries or some cherries. So consider just making things as simple as possible. So do batch cooking when you feel well and freeze. Then you have only to heat them in a dip. That's another great tip. You turn me on to Huel, Simon. I use it daily. Fantastic. Excellent. So I'm pleased to hear that. Yes, I find simplifying is so important. Excellent. But really great to catch a live stream. Good. Planning simple nutritious meals and preparing in the morning. Excellent. So some great tips coming through. Keep them coming. So next step. Strategy 7, resource and nurture yourself. Now, I appreciate that some people, their options may be limited in terms of asking others for help, but for those of you who can and don't like asking for help, then this is an opportunity for you to grow, okay? And allow others to give. Of course, you might get a no, but you might get a yes. If you're in the group and you just need some encouragement, someone posted recently saying, "I'm in a dip. I just need a bit of love or encouragement." I'm sure people will respond to you in the group if they can. So seek out things depending on your energy levels. Certainly, there was a time when I couldn't even watch telly. I used to listen to the radio. I used to listen to comedy on the radio. I used to read books and stuff, but there was a time when I didn't have the energy to look at a screen. But seek out whatever you can to make you feel good or to take your mind off your current situation, whether it's watching inspiring videos or stuff that makes you feel good, TV, movies, maybe a question for you that you can answer in the chat is, what is a film or a TV program that is your go-to if you want to just have some light relief? One of the films I love is Yes Man with Jim Carrey. It makes me laugh. I love watching or listening to comedy, and that's something I would do, when I was in a dip, to just take my mind off it, because sometimes you're watching something that's funny, you can't help but laugh. I saw a video the other day of a British comedian called Michael McIntyre, who I don't think is very funny, and it said Michael McIntyre's best jokes, and I thought, well, that's going to be a short video, but I thought I'd watch it. It was about 25 minutes long, but I have to admit it did make me laugh. So even though I was convinced that he wasn't very funny, I did find myself giggling. So do what you can to just give yourself some light relief where possible. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the comments. Followed you for ages. Timing is awesome. Glad you're finding it helpful. Let standards drop. It's okay, really. Yes, if you don't wash your hair, or I remember there were times I didn't have a shower some days. Okay, I really tried to make sure I had a shower every other day, but I think there were times when I even didn't have a shower for 3 days. But do what you have to. So find a good podcast. Great idea. Do some art, audio plays and books. Yeah, that used to be my go-to. Have a resource feel-good basket or kit you can grab and use with your favorite things. Again, listen to music. I was listening to a piece of music recently, and I felt very emotional listening to it, because it was a band who I missed seeing live because of CFS. So, but I felt, stirred by it, and I felt uplifted by it. So, Liar Liar, Jim Carrey, Three Amigos, great films. I love comedy too. No shower these days. 3 days you feel afterwards. Let standards drop is so helpful. I agree. Hard to do. All right. So there's a growth opportunity there. Okay, to get to the point where it's easier to let standards drop. TED Talks, wet wipes. That's such a great point. Drop standards. I listened to great song today and dance sitting down. Brilliant. Love to know what the song is. When I'm in a dip and cannot watch anything, I listen to anything or do anything. Just having then sorry, I can't read the rest of that. Let's see if I can open it elsewhere. Don't know why when I'm in a big dip and cannot watch anything or listen to anything or do anything, just having a cozy spot to curl up is helpful. Yes. Can't stop the feeling. Justin Timberlake. I will have to listen to that. I don't think I know that one. All right. So where were we? We were talking about resourcing and nurturing yourself. So the next part of that is being kind to yourself. Let me repeat that. Be kind to yourself. We have to learn to be nice to ourselves. That is going to help us get into a healing state. On the floor, J-Lo. If you can, again, depends on your finances, your situation. If you can afford a relaxing treatment, or even ask someone. I know a couple of people who recently said that their kids gave them a facial or a foot massage, or their partner or whatever, so again, or give yourself a massage, facial or a hand massage, whatever it is. Okay, so Mrs. Brown is good for a laugh. Yeah, my mum loves that. Okay, strategy 8. Remember that you are doing your best. Remember that you will come out of this. You've come out of it before, and you can come out of this again. And this relates to a comment that someone's made earlier. Remember what helped before. So this is where it's really useful to make notes of what helped you come out of a dip or a setback. And as someone mentioned earlier, that can be part of your survival kit, as well as, a list of simple meals, etc. Okay, so remember those things. You are doing your best. Okay, we are human, we make mistakes, and it's learning to be okay with that. I used to be really hard on myself, but I learned more and more to be okay even when I fell over, when I made mistakes. Strategy 9. Use your imagination in the right way. So rather than imagining all these worst case scenarios, these scary scenarios, learn to use your imagination in useful ways, in playful ways, in fun ways. We're going to do a little visualization at the end where we do that. Any more comments? Rocky 1 and 2. My biggest takeaway from this year is being kind to myself, being okay with not being okay. Excellent. This is new to me, but I can see that I can survive and can survive again. Excellent. So I want to share this quote that I found yesterday from a client. Okay, I got help to focus on what heals the body and started making small adjustments every day so that my energy was spent letting my body heal instead of stressing about being sick. And this person, Anne, has a big corporate job for a company that you'll all have heard of, and she went from not working to working part-time to working full-time, and I worked with her about 9 years ago. So if we look at what she's saying there, it's really thinking about that. What helps the body heal? Okay, and we know that one of the really important things that helps the body heal is being in a state of calm. Making small adjustments every day. So what I would suggest is that, you, especially when you're in a bit of a dip, review your day. How did I get on? What did I do that I can give myself a pat on the back for? Some of you know I'm a big fan of pat on the back and sometimes do a pat on the back challenge. Maybe I'll post that again soon. But also think about, okay, what didn't go quite the way I would have liked it to go today, and what could I do differently tomorrow? That way we can learn from things, and as Anne says, making small adjustments every day, okay, so that we can let the body heal. So if you want more help, I do every week offer 3 free strategy sessions, 1 per person. There's no obligation to become a client, and I will only talk about the training I do or how you can work with me one-to-one if you ask me, okay? And I do that because I like to show people I can help them by actually helping them. So that is a completely free session. If you're interested in, just send me a message. And I also will be starting another resilience group coaching soon in a couple of weeks. We just recently finished 12-week session and I got very good feedback from that. So if you're interested in that, it is designed for people who've done some form of brain training. I wouldn't turn other people away, but if you've done some form of brain training, that's going to give you a head start. If you're interested in that, send me a message to support@mecfsexplored.com. That's a completely confidential group. So let's see if there's any questions. Let's have a look. Any more comments? What kind of session? If you email me, I can tell you more, but very briefly, the way it's going to be structured is there's going to be a maximum of 5 people in each group. And what we do is, first of all, ask the question, what is a win you've had in the last week? So question 2 is, what is something you've learned? Question 3 is, what do you need help with? And each person gets 10 minutes each week to talk about their topic that they want to talk about. And so everyone else gets to hear other people's questions, and people find that really useful. And people say, the comments people have given me is that they've really enjoyed getting to know other people and see that other people are in the same boat. And then we finish with what is a takeaway. And maybe we can finish this session with that same question. What is one thing you can take away from this Facebook Live and apply to your situation? So, no, you're really welcome to answer those questions. You might notice I'm not calling people out by name just because I might post this on YouTube or whatever, but it's fine to be asking questions. Thanks for your participation, each and every one of you. So any questions, fire away. And also, what is a takeaway? I'm not alone. Fantastic. I'll just wait a moment to see what other comments come through, and I can read some of the other comments now. When you feel your head is all over the place and you can't think straight, instead of your head like a racing track, what do you do then? Well, this is where you need to practice something, either like doing a guided relaxation or practicing meditation. So by doing that, you're actually observing your thoughts but not engaging with them. And if you just keep doing that, or using that finger exercise that I've taught you that's available in the group, you can actually calm your mind down. Now, sometimes it takes work, okay? But if you keep doing that, then what you're doing is you're deciding to think certain thoughts. So if you're doing the finger exercise, which you're familiar with, then that's what you're focusing your attention on. And if you do that, that's going to influence how you feel. So let's have a look. More comments. I feel connected again, and so much more positive than an arrogant. Great advice from you, Simon, and everyone. Thank you. Great points for dealing with the dip. Takeaway is, I have the tools. Excellent. Takeaway, to be more aware of what helps in the dip. More scientific, less emotional. Excellent. Addressing obvious triggers is important too, such as food allergies, histamine issues, hormone imbalances. Lots of excellent tips. Takeaway. Yeah, so very good points you're making, though. Deal with any other issues. Those things aren't my expertise. My expertise is working with mindset, but do all those things as well. Thanks, Simon. Great reminders that give lots of hope. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So thanks for your comments. Are you up for a short, playful visualization? Yes. Okay. Excellent. So yes, it's coming through. All right. Obviously, only close your eyes if it's safe to do so. If you are driving or operating machinery, obviously don't close your eyes. So what I want you to do is to make yourself comfortable and close your eyes. What I'd like you to do is just take a moment to just become aware of your surroundings. Just be aware, with your eyes closed, of where you are right now. Having a sense of the things around you, the space you're in, the objects, the colours, the shapes. Just have that awareness of the things that you'd see if your eyes were open. And bring your awareness to any sounds that you hear other than the sound of my voice. Just notice that maybe there are sounds that might come and go, or there might even be the absence of sound. If you hear any sounds, you can just let those sounds wash over you. As you just bring your awareness to your body, noticing the position of your body. And I'd like you actually just to clock on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being calm and relaxed, what number you are for calm and relaxed right now. Just log that in your head. And as you have that awareness of the things that you see, the sounds that you hear, and the physical sensations of your body, knowing that you can adjust your posture whenever you choose to ensure that you remain comfortable. And I'd like you to imagine that I've given you £5 million to create your perfect luxury retreat. And I'd like you to imagine being there right now. What does it look like? What is it you see? Perhaps you're lying on a sun lounger, just surveying the scene. Notice what you see, the colours and the shapes. Just take in the whole scene. Be aware of the sounds that you hear in this place. Just be aware of the position of your body. As you breathe in and out, breathing in that pure, clean air. As you breathe out, just allowing your mind and body to relax. Again, as you breathe in and out, just letting go, letting go. Breathing in that pure air that's nourishing your body, and breathing out and letting go of anything you no longer need. Just allowing your body and your mind to continue to relax. And I'd like you now to just imagine coming towards you is a scantily clad person. It might be a Adonis, a muscly man, or a nice woman, whatever you prefer, who's bringing you a nice drink. And in the other hand, they've got some massage oil. And so they hand you that drink. And as you enjoy that drink and enjoy that eye candy, when you're ready, you put the drink down and you turn over onto your stomach, lying comfortably on that sun lounger, as they pour some of that oil over your body. And now you feel the contact of their fingers on your skin, relaxing your muscles, helping your muscles let go and soften. Just finding those parts of your body that just need a little bit of attention. And as they work that part of the body, you can just feel those feelings of relaxation as the fingers massage those muscles just at the right pressure that is perfect for you. Just feel those feelings, those lovely, delicious, goosebumpy feelings of relaxation as you just allow your mind and body to relax and let go. I'd like you just to enjoy that for a moment, knowing that you can take yourself back to this place whenever you choose. Really step into that experience, seeing the things that you see, hearing the sound, feeling the physical sensations, the temperature of the air on your skin, those delicious feelings of receiving that lovely massage. And when you're ready, as I say, knowing that you can take yourself back to this place whenever you choose, are likely to slowly allow yourself just to come back to the present. On a count of 5, when I reach 5, you'll be ready to just open your eyes. So 1, just have that awareness of your body, the position of your body. 2, bring your attention to your breathing. As you breathe in and out. And 3, just have an awareness of where you are right now, what you would see if your eyes were open. And 4, you might just gently stretch or flex your fingers and toes. And 5, when you're ready, I'd like you to just gently open your eyes and come back to the room. So, I'd like you to just let me know, how did you find that exercise on a scale of 0 to 10? What number are you now for calm? And maybe you can put the score that you were at the beginning and the score you are now on a scale of 0 to 10. I'll give you a moment to do that. Started at 3, now an 8. That was so relaxing. Can I keep the scantily clad man? Of course he can visit you whenever you choose. But how cool is that? In the space of maybe just a few minutes, you've gone from a 3 to an 8, a 2 and 5. Excellent. So there's still a change there. Just have a look to see if there's any other comments that I missed. That is very close to my usual visual. Excellent. 5, I found that hard to keep with it. Okay, so it just means you need to practice. If you haven't already, feel free to download the free relaxation audio that's in the group. Never ceases to amaze me how my body can relax like that. I stopped at Adonis. 5. Excellent. All right, so thank you for participating in this Facebook Live. Feel free to add any comments. I was scared. Okay, maybe you can let me, if you want to, just let me know what you were scared about. I can respond to that. After I have a chuckle at me, eye candy went from a 2 to 8. Brill, thanks. You are all welcome. So thanks for participating. As I do leave comments, I will have a look at them later. 4 to 8. Me too. All right, well, I will say bye for now, and I am planning now to do Facebook Live at the same time each Thursday as far as is possible. I started laughing at eye candy and couldn't stop. Well, that was the goal, is to tickle your funny bone. Thank you, Simon. You're welcome. I went very deep very quickly. Okay, very good. So thanks and bye for now, and see you again on a Facebook Live soon.